Hello, and welcome to the Dear John podcast. I am your host, John Moody, recording from Dreamland East in New York City. I'm at my boy Les July's studio. I'm actually back east visiting New York City. I normally will be recording from my walk-in closet in Atwater Village, Los Angeles, California. But I decided to kind of kick this thing off while I was on a road trip. Anyway, for those of you who don't know me or know me well, my name is John Moody. I'm a comedic writer and performer, and was doing a blog, and I found that most of my most popular blogs were the ones where I talked about my dating experiences and everything like that. So I decided to start a podcast giving dating advice because, I mean, if you can take dating advice or advice about relationships from someone who was divorced 3-4 times, a la Steve Harvey or whoever else, I mean, why not take it from me? I've dated several times. I've been in a few relationships. This is all for fun. So I'm going to give advice, but if you actually take my advice, you are on your own. All right. It may have results that you may not particularly like. I don't know, but we're going to have some fun. If you have any questions, you can send those to dearjohnpodcast@gmail.com. So let's just jump into this thing and see what happens. I'll go online, check my email, see what kind of letters I have, and, try to get to all of them. So let's just jump into this thing here. The first email. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Dear John, I met this woman through a blind date. Turns out she is a devout Christian. I am not a churchgoer. Should I nip this thing in the bud, or should I kind of see where this thing goes? Good question. I'll tell you right off the bat, most church people will tell you that, people need to be equally yoked if they're, going to have a successful relationship. This is my experience dating women in the church. I'm not in the church. I don't go to church. I'm not a churchgoer. But there's a saying that, somebody might be in it, but they're not of it. And that's true with church women too. Okay, there are plenty of women who are in the church, but they're not exactly of the church. All right. When I was younger, I thought that women too, especially who were in the church, were probably like 5 or 10 years from being like Carrie's mother. I don't know if you remember that movie Carrie, but I pretty much thought in a few years they would have candles all over the place and highly combustible Bible scriptures, resulting in the house being burned down for some reason or another. But turns out that wasn't the case. I'll tell you what, when I first moved to Los Angeles, I met a woman at a church and just assumed she was like, the super Christian chick. And all of our dates, I tried to not make them church dates, but something to make her think that, I was like kind of a church dude, which I wasn't. And it was just interesting because she had a birthday party, which she invited me to. And the first thing she wanted to do were tequila shots. And I could tell by the way she used the lime and the salt, and she knew how to place all that stuff. She was very familiar, not just with the Holy Spirit, but with spirits in general. And I'm not saying church people shouldn't drink or can't drink or whatever. I'm just saying I kind of put her in one basket and she wasn't there. The interesting thing is that after a while, she kind of had me in one part of the room where she tried to keep me, and started noticing there were other dudes that were there that also, wanted her affections. And they were also in different rooms. And I ventured outside of my room at one point, and near the end of the party, saw her making out with one of the dudes. And I know those of you who have read my blogs are thinking, damn, Moody, didn't you have a similar situation with a woman and her fiance and her living boyfriend? And I did. So, there was something about me years ago where I seemed to attract women who were kind of like, like to have a harem of dudes and wanted me to be in that harem. I don't think I attract the same women now, which is cool. But anyway, brother, hey, man, I say go ahead and date this woman, see what happens, see how it goes. And, it might be a cool thing. You never know. Okay, let's see. Next letter here. Next email. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. Dear John, and this is from a lady. How much should a guy spend on the first date? The answer to that, I don't really know. I mean, I don't know if I should be answering this question because maybe women, y'all have like this, like a hard, fast rule of what should be spent on a first date. Honestly, I've spent a lot of money on a first date, and sometimes I've spent, just a cup of coffee. Met a woman over a cup of coffee, and that actually ended up being a pretty long relationship, which was really, really nice. I'll say this. You got to be careful because you don't know what a dude is going to expect. So sometimes if he spends a lot of money, he might be expecting something to which, you're not obligated at all. But I will say this. I've talked to a few cats, and I know early on, when I didn't have a lot of money, I would actually spend too much money on a date and not really enjoy it. Just had that feeling of like you go to a restaurant and you let her order first, not because you're a gentleman, but you're going to base what you order off of what she just ordered. So if she was kind of cool with it, you can get a nice meal too. But that wasn't the case one time where she came to get her grub on and to be treated right. I don't know if I was making up for all the other dudes that took her to Popeyes and Wiener Schnitzel on the first date. But, she went straight for the steak and shrimp. And when I had to order, I started looking at the kids' menu. Okay. She got a really nice glass of wine, and I told the waiter that I had heard about their world famous tap water and that it had rave reviews, and I came there specifically for the tap water. Anyway, I decided that I couldn't afford this chick and never called her again, never explained it, because what I'm gonna do, call and be like, yeah, I can't really afford you. So I had a little too much pride for that. And the bad thing is this, she didn't do anything wrong. I asked her to go out. I suggested that restaurant, so why, if I asked her to go there, she shouldn't assume that I can't afford what's on the menu. But, maybe she was left with some complex or whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm not that important to her. Who knows? But anyway, yeah, first date, it could be something really simple. All right. Doesn't have to be that much. All right. Okay. And we're going to take one more question here. Okay. Don't know if I want to touch. Okay. No. Forget it. We're going to go into this. Okay. Dear John, when dating black women, when can you tell them that you would prefer a woman without a weave? I don't know if you can say that. I mean, if you met her with the weave and you're in a relationship with her with the weave, you pretty much, that's what you picked, man. That's that's what you chose. The letter goes on to state that one of the reasons why is because he likes to pull a woman's hair during intercourse. And, let me address that. And listen, that's cool. There are women, brother, just make sure that the woman is down with that and likes having her hair pulled. I don't know if you should really just base a relationship on whether you can pull her hair or not because of her weave. But I'm just going to say this, man, if you get the hair pulling, man, make sure she's down with that because, there are those of us who like to do a little extracurriculars, doing our, activities, even doing a little foreplay. And I just remember a very young John Moody reading Essence magazine and reading about incidents with candle wax and decided I would spring that on this woman once who was at my place and poured some hot candle wax on her back. And she was not expecting, nor did she appreciate the hot candle wax. And it was a bit of an incident there. I mean, she didn't call the police, anything like that. But yeah, the cool thing is that to this day, we're still friends. And, she jokes with me. She calls me Rick James, saying that, brothers from Buffalo have a thing for burning women with shit, which is in reference to our departed brother, Rick James, burning a woman with a crack pipe. Now, I would say that a crack pipe and candle wax are two entirely different things, but still, I'm basically the brother that likes to burn women with shit, according to her, which ain't really, it's funny, but I mean, I hope she doesn't tell other people that. Anyway, just wanted to check this thing out here. So if you have any questions you want to send to me, please send those to dearjohnpodcast@gmail.com. We're going to try to do this thing once a week. So you can check me out here and hope you enjoyed it. You can also check me out. I think all y'all got my Facebook thing and on Twitter. John B. Moody at Twitter, or Twitter at John B. Moody. And of course, I have Instagram, John B. Moody 716 at Instagram. And I'll check you out next week or some other time. Y'all take care. Peace.
Big bag of bottoms, bump for you boys on the block.